A unique concept launched by the Government of India, the Ministry, of having a centralized consent manager for multiple principles. In this video, we are going to talk about the centralized consent manager concept, unique and launched only by Government of India, only by the DPDP Act in India. Welcome to my YouTube channel. A regular update on privacy and DPDP Act. So, why do we need this central thing? Organizations need to be registered with Data Protection Board of India. There is a criteria to do that. But why all this hassle? All this so that your consent is centralized, right? Your consent for different fiduciaries and your preferences is lying at a single place, which helps you improve your control over the things and reduce friction across different platforms. Right? It does not need to get into different platforms. A new concept, as I said, something unique to the Indian board. Only India is doing it. Data Protection Board of India would request organizations to put in as their registration documents. There are criteria, turnover criteria, stakeholder criteria, etc., experience criteria, and you meet that criteria, you register for it, and they qualify or get you registered. You get registered, and then the principals can grant and view their consents at one place, withdraw their consent from a single console, manage the entire operations related to their consent in a single console. So the principals don't need to run around here and there to get more into handling their consents across multiple data fiduciaries. That means, as a principal, I can sit at a place, give my consent for various services I need from various data fiduciaries, and I don't need to roam around and get into consent management system of individual fiduciaries. Is it a mandate? No, it is not. It is not mandatory for fiduciaries to go through the registered consent manager. It is not mandatory for principals to go through it, but it gives a lot of relevance and a lot of convenience. Multiple fiduciaries are involved when you work with them, especially when data sharing happens, right? And I've been talking on several examples, like for example, you give a consent to the hospital for research, but the research is happening through lab. So the hospital has to transfer that consent to the lab, making lab also an independent fiduciary, or I can give a direct consent to the lab because I'm doing it now from a single window. So users are otherwise required to interact with multiple platforms and can make them consent fatigue. And this was one of the concerns that a lot of people in India raised, that we need consent and that can be difficult for people sometimes. Sector wise, for example, BFSI and healthcare example I took, even in BFSI, you talk to a banker, he has to talk to a DSA. You talk to a broker, he'll talk to multiple financial companies for you, right? What better if than the getting a single console, talking to all of them and sharing your concept across multiple platforms, something like an aggregator service, right? One central place for all your requirements, and they would talk to other people and get you their desired service. As against internal consent is mandatory. You still need to have not exactly a consent management software, but a proper consent management flow within your organization. And the external one that we are talking, which is consent manager, is optional. Internal enforces processing. The external one does the processing. Internal is product owned. The external is third party, and you can develop your own products if you want to. Internal system is still required so that you can manage the consent, and external system is not required. Consent manager stays out. You need to simply outsource or simply use them for marking consents, nothing else. Strategic view for businesses. For startups, they may not need an external consent manager initially, and you can in any case have your own consent manager. So a startup may start uh, developing their own consent manager. An enterprise may selectively adopt it. A platform should ideally integrate with it, especially if you are an aggregator kind of a business. You give that facility to your principals, that you are integrated with the aggregator consent manager, and therefore even the consent thing gets easily handled. And for all of us, so DPDP ready consent, so let's be ready for it. Nutshell summary: consent managers are unique to DPDP, right? It's not a normal concept happening in the world. They are optional still. They help principals, they help fiduciaries also, because they get consents collected at a single place. Internal consent designs remains mandatory. So you still need to plan your consents through your internal consent mechanism and not rely, or rather use consent manager, the external board registered consent manager, only for execution. Multiple things. You avoid buying a software. Number one, if you are a principal organization. As a fiduciary, you avoid buying a software, and you are giving a central place where your principals are coming in. So you are easing out a principal's work, and that can be useful for many principals. So that's about consent managers. Treat them as an ecosystem layer, not a shortcut. It's an important layer, right? So if you have any concerns, queries, please let me know. I have a Udemy course on consent. Consent manager is yet to be added there, would be added soon. And if you like my content, stay with me on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, share your feedback in the comment section. Thank you.